I'll just add to it that there was a big concern about the EMRS schools, the fact that the overall progress of the work in these schools is not at the pace as we would want it to be. So therefore, after discussing with the Tribal Affairs Minister, we are setting up a task force, which will be headed by myself as a chairperson, the Chief Minister, and there will be members from, obviously, the Education Minister and the Education Department will be there, and the members from WebCOS, which is one of the implementing agencies, and the MIDC, which is the Manipur Industrial Development Corporation, and officials from the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. And the objective of this task force will be to ensure that all the different issues concerning land and other aspects which are leading to the slowdown of the overall implementation of the scheme will be taken up by this task force. Apart from that, the Tribal Affairs Minister has informed us that the Government of India, the Tribal Affairs Ministry, has decided to take up a large number of tribal villages for overall development purpose in different tribal states of the country. They have identified 836 villages, plus minus 10. I don't remember exactly 836 or 846, but approximately 830 plus villages have been identified in Meghalaya, which will now be taken up in the next 5 years for overall development and gap funding in whatever areas that are required. The objective being to make these villages self-sufficient in one way, make these villages overall have the facilities that they require. So the Ministry of Tribal Affairs will actually fund these villages. And as I said, it will be done in a 5-year plan. And for this also, we have organized a meeting which is going to take place next week, along with the Joint Secretary of the concerned project, where these villages will be taken up. And as I said, this list of villages have already been finalized and will be starting the implementation of these development projects in these villages funded by Ministry of Tribal Affairs in the next few months to come. Apart from that, again, regarding the EMRS, the Honorable Education Minister has already informed that there was a concern whether for the recruitment of the teachers, since it's a central sponsored project, whether the state policy or the national policy will apply. And during the course of our meeting, it was clarified to us that the state reservation policy will be applicable for the recruitment in these particular schools. We also had a meeting with the National Highway and the Honorable Minister of Road and Surface Transport. And we have submitted additional projects for CRF, that is Central Road Fund. And at the same time, we have asked for additional funds to take up more projects on national highways. On both the fronts, we have got a very positive response from the Government of India. And we're hopeful that we will get more additional funds for additional projects in this financial year under the National Highway, as well as under CRF, with some intervention from Finance Department of the state and the Finance Department from the center. We are hopeful that certain more projects will be there under CRF also. We also had a meeting with the Jal Shakti Minister. So projects regarding Jal Jeevan Mission, as well as the minor irrigation projects were also taken up. Some other, some old pending dues to the state amounting to approximately about 70-80 crores was taken up, and the government has agreed to release those funds immediately to us. And at the same time, we have also asked for additional 70 projects to be taken up under the minor irrigation, and Government of India is positively considering those projects also. I would also like to inform you that regarding the independent inquiry for matters relating to MECL, the committee has been set up on the 30th of June 2021, which means about 9 days back. And this is a committee that will be headed by Justice Ifaqat Ali Khan, who's a retired judge of the Allahabad High Court, Shri Manoj Kumar, who's a retired IAS officer, and Shri Shushil Kumar, who's a retired executive director of the REC as a technical member. This committee has been asked to have its initial meeting, first meeting, on Monday itself. So we are expecting that they will have their first meeting virtually on Monday or on Tuesday. And necessary arrangements like office space, place to stay, staff, all the necessary arrangements have been made. And we are expecting that this committee should be able to start its work as early as next week. And the first meeting, I'm told, is most probably going to take place next week on Monday or on Tuesday. At the same time, I have also issued an order to constitute a single member independent inquiry into the social welfare matter regarding the rice and the quality of the food products, which was raised in different quarters. So the Chief Secretary has been asked to find out names of independent, of retired judges of high courts, so that we can select a one-member committee. And we expect that this committee, once it's formed, should be able to submit the report to us within 3 months' time. Similarly, even the committee on the MECL has also been asked to submit the report within 3 months. I had last week, some members had asked me, or the press had asked me about the expenditure that has incurred in COVID. I'd like to inform you that for this second wave in 2021-22, there has been from medical department, including NHM and DHS, an expenditure of approximately 240 crores have been spent. And this includes mostly equipments that are being used to fight COVID, ranging from obviously prefab structures to procurement of different COVID items, to procurement of oxygen cylinders. So it has been slightly more different. There's, of course, also salary components, supplies and materials. All these aspects also are there. At the same time, we also had to have expenditures in the Corona care centers and equipments, including ambulances, masks, and PPEs. We also had to spend on labs and surveillance amounts, oxygen concentrators. So all these expenditures on a total have come to about 240 crores for the second wave. I would like to also inform you that there have been a lot of concern in the media and among the public also regarding certain incidents that took place in Delhi and NCR, where two people, late Samuel and late Rosie Sangma from Dimapur, died in different circumstances. And so therefore, the clarity in this was something that is being sought by the people at large. I had spoken to the family members of late Samuel, and they had told me that they'll be filing an FIR very soon. And therefore, we were waiting for those FIRs to be filed. In the meantime, I received a representation from the Nagaland Garo Tribal Council on July 5th. And based on this, I have written a letter to Shri Arvind Kejriwal and to Shri Manohar Khattarji, Chief Ministers of Delhi and of Haryana, to look into this matter and put up an inquiry into the circumstances in which these lives were lost. So we're hopeful that we will get some positive response on this issue also. Regarding the different cryogenic plants in the COVID hospitals in the state, we are at a very advanced stage to complete the cryogenic plants, both in Jingpynbna as well as here in Shillong. And we're hopeful that both these plants Yeah, both these plants should be up within the next 2 weeks' time. In fact, we will be able to start trials of these plants in maybe a week's time from now, especially the Shillong one. The trials will start within 1 week's time. And then we're hopeful that after that, once the trials are successful, that these plants will be fully operational. This would ensure that if we are hit by the third wave, then we will be in a much better position in terms of the supply of oxygens for the long run. I have two, three more other points which may be raised, but I think I'll leave it to the press to ask me those questions if you have any. And in the end, if those questions do not come up, then I'll make some clarifications on those areas also. So that's all from my side. And if you have any questions, I'm open for questions from your side. Can I also request, just so that everybody gets a chance, that if you can stick to 2 questions per person so that we don't ask too many relevant questions. I'm not saying any questions relevant. All questions are relevant, but ask the most important questions that you'll have and give a chance to others also to ask. So I would like to just mention it before we start that I would be restricting to 2 questions per person. So I may sound like Speaker of the Assembly, but we need to moderate also. So yeah, please go ahead. This committee is completely independent in nature, and MECL is autonomous body, and therefore, from the government side, there is absolutely no interference even in the day-to-day functioning. So therefore, MECL functions as an autonomous body, and therefore, there is no need or any question of removing the power minister from his portfolio at this point in time. And we're very clear that the independent inquiry has been given a stipulated time to complete it. And it is completely, as I said, mentioned, that it is completely independent in nature. And we are waiting for the report of this committee, and then we'll see how to move things forward in the future. So we have set up an independent inquiry that has been set up or being headed by an independent and a retired judge. And this kind of demand is completely undermining the independent committee that has been put up. So therefore, this committee should be allowed to function, should be allowed to submit its report. Yeah, go ahead.
It's very alarming. It's 1.68 because it's treated yesterday. Next only to Nagaland and rest of the Northeast is quite low. Even vaccination for healthcare workers, Meghalaya is at the bottom. So in such a case, how will you ensure that if our healthcare workers are not vaccinated, how are we able to fight the third wave and about the fertility rate of the people?
Yeah, so fertility rate is something that is different. I mean, for one to connect all these dots that you have mentioned, of course, we can connect the dots, but they are very, very different issues on their own. Starting off with the health workers, I don't have the exact figure with me, but close to 80% have been vaccinated. So it's not that it's like a 20%, 10%, 20, 30% or below 50%. 80% of our health workers have been vaccinated. So yes, there is a need to make it 100%, which we are pushing, and something we are trying to motivate people. We're urging people. We cannot force people to take vaccination, which we've been very clear from day one. But we need to understand that we need to sensitize people and convince them that vaccination is the only way forward. I'll just give a small number to all of you, that out of the 749, the numbers that I have, which is up to 9th of July, so about 749, 691 people, which means 92% of the people who lost their lives, 92% did not take a single dose also. So clear data and indication coming in that vaccination is absolutely necessary. So I once again would like to urge all concerned, those who have not taken vaccine, and if there's somebody in the press also, I would like to urge you also, that we have clear indication that those people who lost their lives, 92% of them had not taken a single dose. So therefore, it is important to take vaccination. And similarly, we are asking our health workers also to do that. In this process, I would also like to state that there have been some elected members who have been openly criticizing and not really promoting the vaccination program. And I would like to say that being elected members, we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to ensure that our people are protected. And as members, we do our research. The entire world does its research. Evidence is very clear that vaccination is saving lives. So I would urge these members who are unnecessarily creating confusion among the people that please act responsibly. If you are irresponsible and if you are not taking interest in saving people's lives, then at least don't say anything that's going to discourage people from taking this vaccine. So therefore, vaccination is absolutely necessary, and I urge all elected members to participate, take your vaccination, all the health workers to take their vaccination, and we are moving forward very aggressively. Our numbers are almost touching 8 lakhs now, number of vaccines. We have, from the eligible group, we have almost about 34% who have already taken the vaccination. So those numbers in the months to come and weeks to come is going to go up. Regarding the fertility rate, which you've mentioned, is 1.8. Yes, every life is important. It's high. But as I said, it's something that one cannot say how things, how this virus will behave. We saw a large number of people who were dying about 4 weeks, 3 weeks back, when we had touched a peak of almost losing 20 plus, 30 plus people every day. But I'm happy to inform you that that number has considerably gone down. It's not a happy thing. There should be no life that should be lost, but at least the fact that the numbers are going down is a positive indicator. So today we lost 9 lives, which again is not acceptable. I feel that not even a single life should be lost. But compared to what it was before, the numbers have gone down considerably. So clearly, our mechanism of ensuring that early treatment and early diagnosis and people taking early medication is helping. The fact that the vaccination drive that is taking place is helping. And overall, the partnership of the community and the elected members, and more importantly, the health workers coming in and giving timely vaccination as well as treatment is helping. So we are seeing the numbers go down, but more needs to be done. And we are totally committed to it. And we will do whatever we can in our capacity to ensure that we have no more loss of lives when it comes to COVID. We'll try our best. But this is a very unpredictable virus, and we are seeing a lot of lives being lost. But we're doing our best to ensure that we keep it to the least. Yeah. His visit, as of now, we have got a tentative program, and he will be here for 2 days, and he'll be staying over here for 1 night. At the same time, in his visit, he will be having meetings with NESAC, that's the Northeast Space Agency. He will be also inaugurating 2-3 projects that have been set up here in Shillong area and in East Khasi Hills. He will also be having a meeting with the chief ministers of the Northeast. And In that meeting, chief secretaries and DGPs will also be present. Apart from that, he has got a visit that is going to take place to Sora, where he would be inaugurating one project there. And at the same time, he will be starting another new project of tree plantation, because there is a massive drive to ensure that the overall tree plantation coverage increases in Sora area. So these will be the official programs. And he also will be, we have also got requests from different organizations and groups who want to meet the Honorable Home Minister. So we have put in the request for them also and asked for time. We have not got a response yet, but I am very hopeful that he will give a positive response on that. So we're waiting for confirmation. And during those visits, during those meetings, I'm sure this discussion of different issues that are important to the state will be discussed in that meeting also. And obviously at my level also, I will be discussing these matters with the Honorable Home Minister, and we will see what response we get from that.
Sir, you mentioned about the I believe the previous government after from school in Sorkar Mynta, you were called residential school. But both of you really left after for what is the feel of this?
When these schools were initially started, there was no particular financial allocation for these schools to be completed. So therefore, when we took over in 2018, we found some of the schools at 20% completion, 30% completion, 60% completion, one or two with 80% completion, and there being no funds to actually complete the rest of the schools. So, and after that, of course, with all the financial pressure with COVID and everything, we had a difficult time to move forward. But then we took a decision that since some investment has been made, we will complete the schools. So therefore, the projects in the schools which had a substantial amount that had been invested already and substantial work been done already, the government had decided that we're going to complete those schools. And accordingly, works in those schools have started. And in some areas where the work was very less, or in some areas which there was no work at all, we did not move forward in those areas. So we will ensure that these schools also are completed. We may tone down the school in terms of the scope. So it may be the numbers might go down, or maybe the residential aspect might not be there in some areas because of the fact that we'll be getting these Eklavya residential model schools, 40 plus of them. So therefore, keeping all those factors in mind, seeing the financial implication and also seeing the overall long-term sustainability of these schools in terms of salaries for the teachers and all these aspects, we will move forward, but we will balance all these aspects out and take whatever the best decision with the highest educational impact and minimize the economic impact in terms of the construction cost and the running expenditure that we might have to give. So, in a nutshell, we are going to move forward. We are going to complete these schools. Those who have reached certain level, so about 40, 50%, 60%, wherever we're seeing the buildings completed, we will finish those schools, and we have already, in fact, worked out a mechanism on how we can run it also. So it will be done. Sorry? Yeah, tribal villages. Yeah. Sorry, can you just repeat that question?
How many villages?
About 836 villages. No, Meghalaya. 836 villages in Meghalaya in the next 5 years. I will have more details about it after I take a review meeting next week on which district, how many villages, what is the kind of intervention that's going to be there. But even if you were to see an intervention of, say, about 50 lakhs in one village, so you can imagine it's a large amount that will be invested in these villages. And the idea is very simple, is to be a kind of a gap funding for roads, maybe for electricity, maybe for water connection, wherever that little more fund is required to make that village more sustainable, or livelihood programs. So these kind of interventions will be done. So there will not be one set program that will be there. I'm sure that the state government will play a crucial role in ensuring that which village should get what kind of intervention will be decided. but I'll get a better and clearer picture next week. But this information was given to me last week when I met the Tribal Affairs Minister that 836 villages have been identified in Meghalaya. So plus minus 10, I've already said that. So approximately 800 plus villages.
My second question. Recently, Assam Cabinet has passed protection bill, and they are coming with this bill which will stop the transportation of cattle. So this is going to hamper the states like Meghalaya definitely the transportation very high. So is Meghalaya government doing anything in this regard?
Yeah, obviously we are aware about this this particular law that the Assam government is taking up, but we have done our initial communication with states that actually provide us the cattle, which is West Bengal, Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, UP, and in this entire matter, the transit and the transportation into the state from these other states should not, in normal circumstances, be an issue. So, therefore, all steps will be taken from our side to ensure that this transit of the cattle that is meant for Meghalaya should not be hampered because of the law that's being passed by Assam. But we have not seen the copy of the law, what it says. We'll need to examine what the terms and conditions are and how they plan to do it. And obviously, if there is an issue which is there that's going to hamper our people and our economy, the matter will be taken up not only with Assam government, but we'll try to ask central government also to intervene in the matter. But as I said, it will be not possible for me to give an exact comment on this without examining the actual act or the law that they have passed. But as I said in the beginning, that the transit of the cattle from the origin to the destination, which is Meghalaya, normally should not be an issue. And we have had a discussion with the states that are providing this.
In this week, even for some raise the border issue. When can we expect CM level? We have to expect everyone.
No, the meeting that Mr. A.L. Hegg had with Mr. Hemanta cannot be called as a border talk meeting. It has to be done at an official level. Please understand these are very, very sensitive and very official matters. So one cannot say that Heck had an official meeting with the. It's a discussion they had. He went to wish him and congratulate him after taking over as thing, and mentioned to him that yes, border is a issue is important. But an official meeting will only take place once in the entire government machinery from both the states are there, and normally takes place at the chief minister's level. So that's number one. So therefore, it would be incorrect to say that a meeting took place on border issue between the health minister and the chief minister of Assam would be incorrect. It was a casual meeting they had, and they discussed. They happen to be from the same party, so they have been talking about this, which is not an issue at all. They can, but obviously, an official decision will only take place at the chief minister's level. Number two, this discussion, as I said, which I clarified in my last meeting also, has been and is going on at very, very different levels. I cannot divulge the content of the discussions that are going on with us, which is with Honorable CM Assam and myself, and Government of India also. But many factors are being discussed. I mentioned to you last week also that the amount of time that I have been spending as an individual in the last 2-3 weeks on any subject, I can fairly tell you that 80% of my time is on the border issue. I now know most of the villages, most of the areas, most of the complications, different CM ships, different organizations. What I'm trying to tell you is that a lot of work is going on, but let us not get into those details. Officially, very soon we'll be meeting. That's all I can tell you. Very soon we'll be meeting. But unofficially, we are doing a lot of work to try and find an amicable solution to this long pending issue that has been affecting the state and the people, especially in the border area. Yeah. One supplementary question.
Right. So that means there is an urgency, and we have to resort
The Home Ministry has expressed the desire to see that interstate issues for all states should be resolved before the 75th year of independence. That is what the Home Ministry has expressed their desire, and which I feel is a very, very fair desire, that even after 75 years, states are still fighting for their borders, is not reflecting too well for the state and the country. So therefore, it's a very genuine desire of the Home Ministry and the Home Minister himself. Secondly, solution is not very simple. It's complicated. For 50 years, we could not find it. But with the new leadership coming in Assam, with the kind of political environment we have in the Northeast, and especially the different understanding we have at the Chief Minister's level, we are able to discuss this matter in a much more detailed manner compared to maybe what it was before. So we could look at a situation where discussions, and this could be a good time to take this discussion forward if we can have all stakeholders on board. We will have a big consultation, try to discuss with as many people as possible. May not be possible to meet everybody, but we will try to give a fair chance so that everybody's voice is heard, and then try to see if we can actually work it out. And I've been very clear in my statement from day one that we will try to find an amicable solution. And if there is not there, then obviously it's something that we will not simply agree to anything that maybe the other side might say. But I feel that there's a positive way forward. I feel that we can find a solution if we put our hearts and minds together in this. We may be able to find a solution, but it's not easy. So, but I am a person who's positive, who believes in trying, who believes that people deserve it. This government is committed to it. We are trying our best. And we ultimately may not be able to find a solution, but if we don't try, we'll never find out.
So much as we talk about the implementing policy, and we will already go about this.
As I said, let's not go into details of that. So we'll just leave it at this right now. Allow us to just to do a bit of more homework. Then I'll get back, because as I said, whatever I say or not say will affect the talks in one way or the other. So it's important that we do things carefully. So I'm going to the limit of what I feel I can say right now. So I'm sorry, I will not be able to go into details of that at this point in time. Yeah. Sorry? Yeah. So the Tribal Affairs Ministry had asked and floated an expression of interest about almost a year and a half back, asking different PSUs to apply, and different PSUs applied. Sadly, there was no PSU from Meghalaya that applied for it. At that point in time, the Tribal Affairs Ministry, in the first lot, there was nobody. So Webcost was the only one, and they were the lowest bidder. And therefore, in terms of the agency charge, was very less. I think they charged 2.5%, 3% or something like that. I can't remember. But based on that, Webcost was given the initial 12 or 15 schools that we got in the second batch. In this third batch of about 25 schools, again, when the expression of interest was floated, none of the public sector undertakings from Meghalaya again did not participate in that. So in that time also, the Tribal Affairs Minister looked at the list and said that rather than giving it to another agency, which is like from Bombay or Delhi, since there is no agency from Meghalaya who's applied for it, let us at least give it to somebody who's from Northeast. So at least it will be a regional PSU. And that is when they looked at the numbers. And in the numbers, obviously, also they looked at the names. Again, there was nobody from Meghalaya. But then the MIDC means the Manipur Industrial Development Corporation, was the lowest bidder at about 2 or 2.5%. And based on that selection process, the government of India had allotted the work to MIDC. Now, let me also stress on this, that if several applications have gone to minister and department asking them that if this can be further given back to us. But obviously, to do that, a complete new process will have to be done, which could be time consuming, which could be legally complicated. And therefore, even after our trials, to try and get it back to some of the PSUs, though uh, our PSUs should have been proactive and applied for it, which they did not. We still try to fight, but as I said, it would lead to a lot of legal complications and maybe delay the project or maybe completely derail them. So that's the history of this, and that's why today these agencies are implementing it. But in the interest of ensuring that it is done properly, we have decided, along with the Ministry of MOTA, that is the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, to form a task force, which will be headed by me, that will monitor this on a school-to-school basis and ensure that everything moves smoothly. Yes. Not specifically for this particular expenditure, but of course, in different areas, like for example, which I had mentioned out here earlier, which is of course from last year, but the funds we got for the prefab. So that is part of that. So we received about 6.8, and that time there was supposed to be just one location, which was in Tura. But then we felt that if we can cover two locations by having prefab structures, then it makes more sense. So then we divided that between Shillong and Tura, and that's how we're getting 100 bedded there, 100 bedded in Shillong. And so that, apart from that particular fund, there may be some small amounts which I'm not able to see right now, but majority of the funds are from the state's own resources. Yeah, please go ahead. No, number one, it's not a report. CAG report is something that has to be tabled in the House, and only once it's tabled in the House, then it becomes a public document. These are procedures that take place where CAG writes to departments. It happens in every department. It's not just MECL. They'll write to tourism department, they'll write to mining department, they'll write to transport department. They write to everybody, and then they seek for clarifications. They say that according to us, this is what we find. Please clarify if this is correct or not. And based on that, the departments write. So therefore, actually, this is a communication between two departments, should not have come out, and it's not appropriate that it should have been out in the press also. So this is not a very healthy trend, because it really gives the wrong picture of things where, as I said, where a clarification is being sought, and based on the clarification, one leads to a conclusion, is not at all fair, I feel. So therefore, as I said, like these letters and information are sought from every department that is concerned, every department. It just so happens that somebody, I guess, leaked it out or got it information from wherever source. But as I said, it's a report. It's not a report. It's a clarification has been sought, and accordingly, MECL, mining, transport, whichever department will clarify to the thing, and then it is placed in the House. So that's the procedure that's followed, and we will see. We'll try to find out how this happened, why it happened, and we can inquire into this matter also. Anything else? Coal India? It's already started. Already the first 3 lots have been given. 3 lots, I think. I'm not showing 3 or 2 lots. And already the money has already come in, and money has already been dispersed also to the coal owners also. So it's already started. And now the 3rd or 4th batch will take place. So auctioning has already started. I mean, yeah, maybe I should have informed this earlier. But yeah, auctioning has already started. And a lot of the people have already received the money also. Yes, 32 lakh metric ton. I mean, total, but out of the 32, in the first batch, we're doing 2 lakhs, I think, if I'm not wrong. But 32 lakhs is what the total amount is. No, approval is for all. No, approval is for the entire amount, that is 32. But obviously, it's not possible logistically to do 32 lakhs in one go. So therefore, the department has phased it out and seen, because even just to store 50,000 metric tons in one location is huge. So keeping those logistics in mind, it has decided to go in a phase-wise manner. Start with a smaller lot. Let's see how it goes, and then keep increasing. So there's 5 questions now. Yeah, last question. I don't have the exact record with me right now, but I can tell you that 5 or 6 prospective mining licenses have been given to these 5, 6 applicants, and many more are under process. Once the prospecting report comes in, then along with the mining plan, it will be again sent to Government of India to finally approve the mining plans. So we have, by achieving this level of getting the prospecting license done, we have actually covered almost 50 to 60% of the work. We are very, very hopeful that once the prospecting reports and all these things come in, then very, very soon, it's difficult for me to say right now because it will be with Coal Ministry to decide. But we are very hopeful that in a very short time, the mining plan also will be approved, and that will be the beginning of scientific mining. So process is at a very advanced stage. About a month, month and a half. I don't know the exact, remember the date exactly, but about a month, month and a half. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, Mr. Government was asking Center towards also the AIA so that the Arsenal project, answer project, I take out. Is it true?
See, we've been very clear on this, that the procedure allows the public hearing to take place. And in many occasions, we have tried multiple times to have the public hearing. And public hearing is a fair chance where we are able to ultimately hear the public's consent or dissent to any particular issue that is there. In all these public hearings that took place, there was violence. There was a lot of, breaking of, the pandal and, chairs and all these things. And every time the public hearing could not take place. So therefore, obviously keeping the entire process in mind, there comes a time where we tell the Government of India, we can't have the mining, we can't have the public hearing anymore. We've tried multiple times. So that report has gone to Government of India. And we have said that now Government of India can decide as per whatever rules that they have, based on which they can take a decision how to move forward. So yes, we have forwarded to Government of India for their intervention, because we could not have the public hearing in a peaceful manner, which is a fact. And it's not that we did it once. It was done maybe 2, 3, 4 times, if I'm not wrong. I think 3 times. So there was no choice left with us but to forward the case to Government of India and decide as per norms and rules on what they would like to do. And we had said that we tried to have the public hearing, but we could not.
I have 2 questions. This is with regard to the coal mine accident and implementing the state has closed down the factory, stopped the rescuing emissions. I just would like to know the compensation has been given to the staff miners. And number 2, the total loss incurred to the public sector in the process of rescuing the staff miners.
I don't have the data for the loss that was incurred, that because of the trapped miners. That is something that we'll have to collect. But yes, we have closed or suspended the rescue operations on the 8th of July, 2021. And 3 bodies were recovered, and the NDRF, SDRF, and Navy have mentioned that they have tried their best. They had to dive in 150 feet to recover this, and they were not able to go any further. So based on that, the operations were suspended. And regarding the ex gratia that has to be given, it is very clear in the mandate that has been given by NGT that we will have to give. So therefore, we will be giving that once the identifications are complete and the family members are contacted. Then we will definitely proceed with the ex gratia payment that has to be given to them.
Highly about the developmental programs that the government is giving to India, including PMGSY and RTP. But you mentioned one thing that if for PMGSY project, if contractors fail to do the work and then if they abandon the project, such contractors will be blacklisted. And whether you have such
I have been personally monitoring the PMGSY work in the last 3 years myself. And the reason why is because when I was member of parliament, I have seen all the reports in the Disha meetings on how the implementation has been very bad in the state of Meghalaya. And therefore, keeping that factor in mind, I decided that we will ensure that we ensure when we get a chance to be in the government that we will monitor this. So I have been monitoring it myself. We have an online monitoring system. And from day one of monitoring these projects, we have seen a large improvement in the overall implementation of the projects. And that is why Government of India has also increased its funding to Meghalaya by a large extent. In the process, there have been many projects, many that actually just stood still. Many contractors have abandoned the work. And in a systematic manner, many of them have been blacklisted. And I can assure you that in the future also, we will continue to blacklist all people who are abandoning the work and not moving forward. If it has been done in a manner that is not acceptable through the system, then we will take necessary action. So therefore, we are very clear that these kind of projects and people who are abandoning these kind of works and who are not doing good quality work will be blacklisted. I don't have the exact number with me, but maybe in the next session, next week's thing I can give you. Many. There are some projects that are from 2001. You won't believe it. And that is the reason why when I had the first meeting with the Rural Development Minister that time, he was very upset. Then I had to remind him that we just took over about 2 months back. And then he cooled down and then he gave me a time frame saying that, well, okay, you finish this within this period of time and then we'll give you more. And we did it. Yeah, which part? Yeah, sure. Done. There's no table, Yeah, only three questions. Yeah. Well, that's exactly the point. I mean, if we keep inquiring into everything, I don't know how we're going to run the government. It's not possible to inquire into all aspects, but yes, it's a matter of concern, no doubt. We will definitely look into this, but we have also spoken to Government of India to put up a new, totally new bridge there. So I don't have the exact update about this, but I do remember our officials telling me that it will be taken up. So therefore, we'll be setting up a new bridge out there. But again, I'll give you more detailed clarification. These are very specific questions. I'm sorry, I don't have a reply to all of them, but I'll be, as I said, happy to share with you by next week information on that also. Sorry? Choose it. Who is it? Sorry. I don't have the name with me right now. I'm sorry. I'll give it next week. Is this the assembly session or what? I don't have these detailed numbers. Yeah, fair enough. But what I'm saying is that it's an important issue. I'll be happy to share the information with you. next week. So I'll give you all the details about this particular bridge, and I'll give you details about PMGS5 also. We have, as I said, we have blacklisted a large number of contractors. Well, we'll give the details to you next week. 3 is not allowed. One question. Which side is ruling side, which is opposition side? We have, like, since you guys on both to 2 sides, this opposition, the ruling. Okay. The Shillong Medical College, as was mentioned by the Health Minister yesterday, I read it in the press myself, that there has been a delay because of the location not being feasible that was initially given. So therefore, there was a lot of dilly-dallying, and ultimately there was a proposal that they want to redo the entire terms and conditions. So therefore, going into the terms and conditions is not that simple. We will need to follow a procedure. So it's not simply that we can just sit down and say, we'll agree to these terms and conditions. So let us see, there's a legal matter also attached to it. So we cannot simply say that we'll cancel it also. So we don't want a legal complication in this. But at the same time, the concerned partner has mentioned that there is a cost escalation. But then during the tendering process, a certain amount was committed to them. Can the government simply go ahead and give a new rate to them? These are all legal matters which need to be examined. But my interest is very simple, that I would like this project to start and to see it being completed soon. But there are a lot of complications. The land is an issue that was there, which we are very close to resolving. But the question lies whether the concerned partner can continue with the present rate or not, because times have changed. So therefore, those matters need to be discussed in detail. And if we do need to change the rate, can we just simply change it at our own level, or we need to go for a tendering process? So all these things need to be examined. We did not sign the contract. It was signed earlier and was given to us. So it's not possible for us to now go into those issues and dynamics and to say that it was controversial, because legally it's binding. The government at that point in time signed this, and it was there when we came in. So it was delayed, in fact, for a long time. And then when we came in, we tried to resolve this issue. And but then, as I said, the complications are so much now that it's not that easy to resolve it, because, as I said, cost escalations have been there. And when the partner is asking for higher rates, will it be possible for us to give it to them just simply without calling a tender and without going to the bidding process? All this has to be seen. But regarding the fact that if they were blacklisted or whatever you're saying, is something that was done in the last government. It's not something that I have any. I'm sorry. Yeah, but from that point of view, as I said, it was signed in the last government's thing. But as I said, now the matter is so complicated that it may not be possible for us to simply go ahead with things. We may have to go or retendering. We may have to, because, as I said, they're asking for additional rates, which is not possible for us to just give. I mean, we signed a contract at, say, 10 rupees. Now, if they say that, well, the prices have gone up, you increase our rate to 20 rupees. Government cannot just simply increase to 20 rupees. Public will question, how did you increase to 20 rupees? Why? So we may have to go for tendering process again. But if we do that, then they may go for a legal course. So we need to figure out how best we could move forward in this case. The construction is going on. Absolutely. And very fast pace. We had some issues with the road connectivity and all, which we have also resolved. So that also will be resolved, but it's going on. Yeah, your 2 questions are over. It looks like it. We are very clear, and Power Minister has made it also very clear, that we will take all the stakeholders on board before moving forward in any way. A lot of relaxations have happened, but now we are going with a very decentralized approach. So we have left a large number of the relaxations to the respective deputy commissioners. So deputy commissioners are doing it. I will not have the details with me of what, where, because every deputy commissioner is doing according to their condition and situation out there. But in most of the state and most of the districts, I'm sorry, most of the districts, the relaxations are there, and only locality-wise, containment zone-wise, there is some restrictions. Of course, everything that will lead to crowding is being avoided. But with that principle and with principle of going for maximum vaccination is being followed. I'm sorry? You're from Sora? Are you from Sora? Acha. No, it's like this, that we have been very, very clear that we would want to take the district, to take the administration closer to the people, whether it's subdivisions, whether it's blocks, or whether it's the districts. And we are examining each of the demands at an individual level. What is important for us to realize is that whatever we do as a government, it must have a overall, logical, end to it. And Sora, the issues are there. We're trying to figure out how to resolve those issues. And it'll take too much time to go through it. But then, in a nutshell, we have formed a committee which is headed by the Chief Secretary that is examining all these demands and has been doing it, in fact, for the past almost 4 or 5 months after the assembly session. We had set it up. And based on that, the recommendations are coming to the government. And based on the recommendations that are coming to us, we are, as per the recommendations, examining those matters and taking a decision. So we will wait for that report to come from the Chief Secretary's committee. And it's not necessary that all the demands have to come at the same time. So as and when the Chief Secretary sends in the status report on each of the demands, government will decide upon. Which particular ministry? Tribal Affairs is the same guy. Arjun Munda is still there. Sorry? No, Arjun Munda is still Shri Arjun Munda is still the Tribal Affairs Minister. That's what you have to ask. You have to tell me specifically which ministry. Then I can tell you. So you asked me for Tribal Affairs. I told you it's the same person. Jal Shakti is the same person. So which particular ministry? Yeah, so donor and sports. Yeah, so donor and sports is both are very structured schemes that come in. Whether it's a NEC or NESETs, there's a set amount that's set for the states. So there's not much of a difference that will be there because of change of the minister. But of course, it'll be important to ensure that we maintain a relationship with them. That's what is important. So that's why I asked you. It all depends on specific ministries. So donor and sports are very structured ministries. There are set heads. There are set schemes under which schemes come in. So those don't change. Is it? Thank you. हिंदी में बताइए किससे? हाँ, स्कूल से. नहीं, हम लोगों ने जो है एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट में जहां पॉसिबल हुआ है, सरकार का जो रन स्कूल्स हैं और अलग अलग फैसिलिटीज हैं, उसमें सरकार की तरफ से जितनी राहत हो सकती थी हम लोगों ने राहत दी है. लेकिन अगर प्राइवेट स्कूल्स को देखें तो उस एरिया में अगर हम लोग जाएंगे और हम लोग अगर राहत देंगे तो बाकी सेक्टर्स में भी, बाकी एरियाज में भी शायद लोग आके बोलेंगे आपने इस सेक्टर में दिया है तो हमें भी दीजिए. तो अगर इस लाइन पे लोग काम करेंगे, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि नहीं चाहिए, ये जरूरत है और इससे लोग को राहत मिलेगी, लेकिन हमें भी अपना जो है ओवरऑल फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन और सिचुएशन देखना होगा. कहाँ तक हम लोग राहत दे सकते हैं, कहाँ तक हम लोग एक रीजनेबल लेवल तक हम लोग जा सकते हैं, वो देख के हमें काम करना पड़ेगा। और लेकिन आपका सजेशन मैं एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट से डिस्कस करके देखता हूँ, लेकिन यहाँ पे आज कहना कि हम लोग ये राहत देंगे और ये हेल्प करेंगे, ये कहना भी मुश्किल है। जैसे मैंने कहा कि कोविड के समय में सबको ही दिक्कत हुई है, सभी की आमदनी घटी है, सरकार की भी आमदनी घटी है। तो इस सब सिचुएशन में किस तरह सरकार कोविड को भी लड़ेगी और इकोनॉमिकली भी हम लोग कैसे लोग को सस्टेन कर पाएंगे, इसी सोच से हम लोग काम कर रहे थे। और इसलिए मैंने आगे भी कहा कि हम लोग कोविड को और इकोनॉमी को बैलेंस करके चलना है। लेकिन सच बात है कि पिछले 2 साल में पब्लिक को बहुत दिक्कत हुई है, लेकिन हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे कि जितनी राहत हो सके हम लोग देंगे। लेकिन आज हम लोग ये एजुकेशन के लिए ऐसा देंगे और इस डिपार्टमेंट में ऐसा करेंगे, ये कहना मुश्किल है। थैंक यू।